Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know if we wanted to go through and do a one quarterback underdog draft or a super flex. But you know, it's not all the time that you're able to get in these super flex underdog drafts. We are in one now. We are about to be picking at pick 9, which is going to be a little bit painful. But the reason I decided to do super flex instead of one quarterback is we can always do one quarterback. I mean, we're going to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of one quarterback drafts throughout the entire offseason. I don't know how many super flex tournaments there are going to be. They just launched the big board super flex like a week or two ago. I thought it was going to take a long time to fill because it needs 56,000 entrants. It's a $500,000 prize pool. And yeah, it looks like it's going to fill maybe in a week. So if we want to get into any more of these drafts, we're going to have to do so right now. Let's go ahead and let's pull this bad boy up. But let me give a shout out to everybody out here. We have the Pound out here. Happy to see you, my man. Edward, Mark Ward, Ben, Alexandra. Ben says, Pat, what's up? Excited for tonight's stream. Yeah, for the Pound, that is exciting as well. Corey says, drop the like. Yes. If you have not done so already, please go down there and drop a like in the live stream. We are going to need all the help that we can get in this draft because we are picking at 9. So that means we are not going to be able to start off with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Most likely we're not getting Lamar Jackson either. Now, I would really hope that we come away with Lamar Jackson, but of course, you never know. So we'll see what happens. Herbert goes off the board at 5, Burrow at 6. I've been in a position before where we are sitting in having to choose between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Jefferson. And I understand that 99% of people will go through and they will take Justin Jefferson. And I 100% would do it if you had to start 3 wide receivers in this Superflex format on Underdog. And I know you're so tired of hearing me say it, but it's so important and nobody talks about it. But a big thing on these Underdog Superflex drafts is wide receiver is devalued compared in the one quarterback league because you only have to start 2 compared to 3. It's a completely different draft. It's a completely different format, but we are lucky, ladies and gentlemen. We get Lamar Jackson here at pick 9. And honestly, I'm ecstatic about this because while in Dynasty, I do have my questions surrounding Lamar Jackson, his long-term outlook. I mean, what does his playing style look when he's 30? I think there's a reason that NFL teams aren't willing to go out there and give him all the guaranteed money in the world. I think long-term, maybe you have some concerns with that playing style, but in terms of 2023, Lamar Jackson will be the quarterback 1 overall in fantasy. We don't know exactly what the situation is going to look like, but the ceiling is there in a draft tournament like this. I am so excited about it. But of course, real quick as well, if you have not signed up for Underdog, if you want to get in a draft with us, I mean, you're probably the last person on this planet who hasn't signed up for Underdog. Available in over 40 states, pretty much available everywhere. You can sign up today with the link in the comment section, description, or in the live chat. Use promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $100, so pretty much free for you to check out. Now we have Deshaun Watson off the board here at 13. Let's swing this back around. Dak Prescott goes 14. So it looks like we may end up going with the wide receiver at pick 16. And like we were talking about previously, generally I'm not super excited to grab a wide receiver in this range. But, okay, never mind. I was going to say one reason we may have to take Tyreek Hill here is because we decided to put him on the thumbnail. And if he's on the thumbnail, you have to draft him. But now we cannot do so. Let's try to think about what we'll be looking at later on. We'll mix it up, okay? We'll go Cooper Kupp. I understand we are just saying that we would way rather have, I don't want to say way rather have. I mean, I would definitely prefer having Lamar Jackson over Justin Jefferson, right? But if you're looking at the other quarterbacks that we'd be taking here at pick 16, in my mind, there is a significant, a massive difference between Lamar Jackson and Daniel Jones, between Lamar Jackson and Tua. And in my mind, how big is the difference between Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson? I mean, yes, they're definitely in different tiers, but they are back-to-back in those tiers, right? I mean, you have Justin Jefferson tier 1 with Jamar Chase, and then immediately after that, tier 2, you're looking at Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp. So the reason why I am very excited to get Lamar Jackson at 9, and I'm not as excited to go through and draft a quarterback such as Tua in the middle of the second round or at pick 16 is I think the gap between Lamar Jackson and Tua is much larger than the gap between Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp. So we'll go ahead. We will take Kupp there. But we got Brett Johnson out here. Happy to see you out here, my friend. Really hope that you're doing well. Daniel Jones going pick 19. So you have a couple of these quarterbacks immediately off. I mean, I'm really fine if you wanted to go through, if you really wanted to take Daniel Jones to in the middle of the second round. Like, I mean, y'all have seen me take Daniel Jones a lot. It pick 19, pick 20, pick 22. Now, I mean, of course, I don't necessarily think that that's the same thing as what you're looking at with 16. Kirk Cousins goes 21, which is kind of funny because I've been getting in a lot of these drafts off the live stream, and I've had Kirk Cousins falling a lot as of late. Like, I've been consistently getting Kirk Cousins in the third round, kind of getting lucky with those drafts, but I mean, it is what it is. Brendan out here says, finally caught a live video. Happy to see you. Mark Word says, don't forget to support your boy with the channel membership. Yes, thank you, Mark. I think Mark is the only channel member in the live stream right now. Yeah, we are going to be doing a ton of stuff going forward with channel memberships, especially as we get closer to the season where, you know, we are going through and doing those nightly live streams. We haven't decided to start turning the chat to like members only just yet because we're not doing those nightly streams as we will be in August, September, October. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot of things going for memberships soon. Brendan says Kirk Cousins going too high, in my opinion, same tier as Jared Goff. Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins picked 21. I don't want to act like it's a phenomenal selection, but I've been doing a lot in the late second round is I've been going Jonathan Taylor when he falls. I've been going with, honestly, Bijan Robinson at the 2-3 turn. Like, if we're looking at those one quarterback underdog formats where you're having to start 3 wide receivers on a week-to-week basis, easily give me Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown over the running backs there. But in this format where you're only having to start 2 running backs, I've actually been going with the running backs there consistently and definitely passing on the wide receivers in that range. Okay. Mark says Eckler is always great value. I've seen Eckler falling a decent amount as well. I've seen a couple drafts with Eckler going in the third here. Devontae Adams goes pick 27. Let's swing this back around. Okay. Jared Goff goes 28. Interesting to see where we'll be. Russell Wilson, 29. So looks like we will not be taking a quarterback. I want to see. Yeah, okay. So you have one team so far taking 3 quarterbacks through the first 3 rounds. Fields, Cousins, as well as Jared Goff. Waddle off the board at 31. A.M. Carter started JT Justin Jefferson. Let's see if he decides to go through and grab Geno Smith. No, he goes Garrett Wilson instead. I think if you're looking at this tier running back, in my mind, Kenneth Walker, Nick Chubb, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, they're all kind of in the same range. I think the drop from Amon-Ra St. Brown to Higgins is a pretty fair one. So we're going to go ahead. We will take Amon-Ra St. Brown here, 33, and then we'll just take pretty much whatever the best running back available is on the way back around. If that's Kenneth Walker, if that's Nick Chubb, if that's Breece Hall, if that's Derrick Henry, if that's Josh Jacobs, we're going to go in that direction. Derek Carr isn't someone that I found myself drafting a lot here at the end of the third, the beginning of the fourth. I've honestly been more willing to just wait until the 5th round and grab one of those rookie quarterbacks or maybe take someone like Matthew Stafford rather than a Derek Carr in this range. So we weren't really considering him. Doesn't matter because he's off the board anyway. So we're just going to be taking one of these running backs here, either Nick Chubb or Breece Hall. So let's see what we get on the way back around. Okay, so what is this team doing? Geno Smith, CMC, Tyreek Hill so far. So it's not like you have really anything you can correlate here unless you want to reach on DK Metcalf to make sure you're getting the Geno Smith stack. Goes Josh Jacobs. So we'll go ahead. We will take Nick Chubb, pick 40. Decent ADP value. I think if you're going to be looking at the combo of the start that we get through the first 4 rounds here, not going to be a super common start. I think it will be a little tougher than what people assume, being able to go through and grab Lamar Jackson, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Nick Chubb all on the same team. Okay. Ben says, the Jalen Hurts team taking Stephon Diggs over A.J. Brown is cold. Yeah. I mean, I think if you take Jalen Hurts there, you're hoping that you get A.J. Brown, but I wonder if they were expecting that they could get Stephon Diggs and then A.J. Brown on the way back around at the beginning of the third, and then obviously A.J. Brown goes immediately then. Chi-Town Bears Time says, yo, subbed, love the channel. Do you think it's worth trading up to 2 or 1 for Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson? Our draft is May 6th. Okay, I'm sorry. I would just need way more information about that. I need to know, are we talking dynasty here? I'm assuming that it's going to be a one quarterback format almost regardless. Is this best ball? What does the price point look to trade? I mean, I can say in a vacuum, I really like Jamar Chase. I really like Justin Jefferson. I would love to go and get him if we can. But in reality, does that actually help you? Probably not. Okay. So Mark Andrews off the board, 44. I've seen Andrews fall to the 5th. Some doesn't happen super often. I mean, I've also seen TJ Hawkinson fall to the 5th. You could have made the argument, Mason. I mean, Lamar Jackson's more likely to go back to Baltimore. They signed Odell to try to make him happy. They're out there on Instagram Live, blah, blah, blah. And if you want to make that argument and say you need to take Mark Andrews in the 4th to stack up with Lamar Jackson, I understand, but I'm not going to do it. Dope says, do you think Bateman bounces back this year? I understand Bateman definitely flashed at the beginning of last season with some big play potential, but I wouldn't necessarily call Rashad Bateman a bounce back. If you think Bateman's going to be good this next season, I mean, it's going to be a breakout, okay? Because if we pull up Rashad Bateman, obviously a career that's been unlucky, if you want to put it that way, in terms of the injuries we've seen. I mean, the man only plays 12 games his rookie year, but coming off hip injury. I mean, it's really hard to say that he had a fair shot then. And then his second season, the man goes out there and plays 6 games. So when his career high is 515 receiving yards in a season, he has 800 total receiving yards through his career, averaging about 44 a game. If he were to be great this next year, it would be a breakout, not a bounce back. And if Lamar Jackson's going to be there, I would say probably not, if I'm going to be honest with you. We tweeted this out. I mean, as soon as Odell Beckham Jr. signed, it doesn't really make sense trying to figure out who the wide receiver one's going to be in Baltimore, regardless of if it's Odell or Rashad Bateman. In my mind, I think neither's a lock to be a top 24 wide receiver this next season if Lamar Jackson is actually the quarterback there. Because with Lamar Jackson, we're drafting him in this league at 9, not because we expect him to be some great quarterback in terms of the passing volume we see. Like, we go back to the Chicago Bears being the worst passing offense in NFL modern history, and Justin Fields still smashing for fantasy football purposes. Not like any of his options in his offense were any good, but rushing upside, rushing upside, rushing upside. So that's why we're taking Lamar Jackson. I don't necessarily have too much hope for the passing volume in Baltimore. Now, in this league, if we find good value for Bateman, we'll go ahead and we'll take him. Noah out here in the chat, happy to see you, my man. I hope you are doing well. Now, Mike goes 53. Okay, so let's swing this back around. So if we're looking at the best players available, we are looking at a whole lot of quarterback and wide receiver production here. So Deebo Samuel going off the board at 54. Calvin Ridley goes 55. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be taking quarterback here on the turn. We'll be grabbing our QB2 and QB3. Don't know exactly who we're going to be getting. I'm assuming that we need to take Matthew Stafford here. Matthew Stafford falls because we have Cooper Kupp. And if we were not to do this, I think that people would probably riot in the live chat screaming at how stupid I am. So yeah, so I don't get ridiculed, we are going to go Matthew Stafford. I mean, I think I would go Matthew Stafford regardless, but definitely cannot pass on him whenever we have Cooper Kupp here. Now, Bryce Young goes pick 58. We will be able to get a rookie quarterback on the way back around if we really want. I mean, I think we can take CJ Stroud. What I would really hate, I would hate it so much if we are forced to take Trey Lance here at pick 64. Please don't take Jordan Love. Don't take CJ Stroud. Don't take Kenny Pickett. Don't make me take Trey Lance at pick 64. I would hate it more than anything in the world. No, Jordan Love is off the board. Oh my gosh, are we really going to have to do this? No, you're forcing my hand, giving me no option. This is brutal here. I can't believe y'all are making me do this. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, Trey Lance actually goes, so we don't get to get our guy. We are sadly not going to be able to take Trey Lance at pick 62. Maybe that's how we dodge the ridicule in the live chat, where someone saves us from ourselves by taking Trey Lance right ahead of us. But you better believe I've been drafting the hell out of 6th-round Trey Lance in these, and yes, I will be laughing at all y'all when it works out. Now, CJ Stroud off the board at pick 63. So let's try to figure out what we should be doing here in terms of quarterback. Are we that excited to go Kenny Pickett going into year 2? Probably not, but I mean, I do want another QB. Maybe we get a fantasy playoff matchup for this tournament. Baltimore, Pittsburgh. You get an explosive game between the Ravens and the Steelers. Maybe, just maybe, that happens. And I think when we take Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nick Chubb, rounds 2 through 4, we are honestly putting ourselves in a position where we can take 4 quarterbacks on this team. Like, you better believe if we have a quarterback that I really like falling to us in the 9th, 10th round, I probably will go with the QB4 here. So we will go Kenny Pickett. I just think that if we're looking at these wide receivers, such as Terry McLaurin, DeAndre Hopkins, some of the guys that we are going to have access to, pick 81, pick 88, are going to be very comparable. Okay. James says, I am terrible at Superflex. I feel like, I don't want to say we have an advantage in Superflex. That's a horrible way to put it. I definitely don't want to say we have an advantage, but I'm very comfortable in Superflex in that, I mean, been playing Superflex since I believe 2015. And I think we've been exclusively Superflex in Dynasty format since 2017. Obviously, Dynasty and Best Ball are just 2 completely different monsters. But I don't know. I will say a couple things about the Superflex format. One, what I like about it. What I like about it is it makes it feel significantly more real. Like, it makes it feel a little more like the real NFL, where if you are able to get Josh Allen, if you're able to get Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, you have a significant advantage over the rest of the field. Like, if your QB1 is Josh Allen versus your QB1 being, say, this guy's Anthony Richardson, like, in my mind, this team doesn't have that much of a shot unless they have a massive hit on a quarterback with a rookie contract, which is similar to the real NFL. So I like it from that perspective that quarterbacks are actually valuable. What I do not like about it is I think that if you're loading up one of these Superflex drafts, you have a significant advantage if you're able to get, quote unquote, lucky and get a top 3, 4, 5 pick or 6 pick, say. I think the teams in the first half of the draft have that significant advantage over the teams in the second half of the draft. Where in that 1 QB format, yeah, like, you definitely still have that aspect, but I just think that it's going to be greatly exaggerated in Superflex. Okay, so Christian Kirk going off the board, 77. Now, J.K. Dobbins goes 68. There are 2 players in particular that I'd like here. Let's see if we get either or. Nicholas says, bro took Fields, Cousins, then Jared Goff. I think there was a draft that I did. I don't think it was on the live stream. I think it was about 2-ish days ago. Okay, this is one of the guys we wanted. We actually want Kyle Pitts. Like I said, I think wide receivers devalued here a bit because you only have to start 2. So I actually really like going and seeing if we can get that top end tight end production. But anyway, I think we had a draft the other day off the live stream that started Fields, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, which I like that. I like getting Cousins like mid-round 3. But I don't know. Now Damian Pierce going pick 84. Cam Akers, 85. So a little rich with Akers, but I mean, completely understand if you don't want to take a wide receiver here in this format. Brock Purdy is someone that I will be honest with you, I really have not drafted any of. Like, the thing is, I want to take a couple bets every season, right? Last year, the bets that we took was Josh Jacobs is significantly better than people are giving him credit for, and he is an extreme value. We'll make him our most drafted player. That worked out. Our other bet was, I don't care what the situation looks like in Miami. Jalen Waddle is a stud. I'm going to drive Jalen Waddle everywhere we can. That worked out. The other bet was, okay, I don't care if Patrick Mahomes doesn't really have great weapons. Patrick Mahomes is elite. We're going to take him everywhere. That worked out. So I feel like we had an extremely successful, I think we had a more successful season last year than pretty much anybody else on Underdog if you're looking at our results across every draft contest. And I think it's because we took some stances and then just took value across the board everywhere else. And one of the stances that I want to be taking this year outside of, I mean, the obvious, take great value. If a player falls way past his ADP, try to grab him, try to build a unique team, try to do things that the rest of the field aren't doing, maybe by drafting Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert on the same roster at the 7-8 turn. But one of my bets that I think I want to be making, regardless of if it is a smart one or a dumb one, is that Brock Purdy is not the starting quarterback in San Francisco. Even if he had success last season, it will be the guy they paid 3 first-round picks to get. That is one of those bets that I'm making this year. I think it would be different if Brock Purdy won the Eagles game. I think it would be different if Brock Purdy wasn't having to deal with a significant injury this offseason. If Trey Lance was still injured and Brock Purdy was fully healthy, maybe this would be a bet that I wouldn't be as comfortable making. But as it stands today with the injury to Brock Purdy, with the investment that they have into the respective quarterbacks, I am willing to go out on a limb and I'm willing to make that bet. I'm drafting Trey Lance in the 6th round of Superflex drafts as often as I can, and I'm really not taking Brock Purdy. I don't know if I've taken Brock Purdy in a single one. Okay. But I could be completely wrong with that. Lunchbox says, I'm a 49ers fan, and I agree with this assessment. Sketchy situation for fantasy. Yeah, and I'll be the first person to admit, I do think that Trey Lance has a low floor. I mean, I think that with Trey Lance, it could be a situation where he gets traded to Tampa. I mean, it's entirely possible, but that's why we're taking him in the 6th round. It's not why we're taking him in the 2nd or a 3rd. Maybe it's a little bit of a different take if this isn't a tournament-style draft where we're trying to chase the highest ceiling possible. But that's the take we're going to have right now. But what's funny is I've heard from like the typical 49ers fan, at least from my point of view, is actually all aboard the Brock Purdy train. Like, seems like from what I have noticed as an outside observer, that the vast majority of 49ers fans are Brock Purdy fans. Okay, so Evan Ingram going off the board, pick 96. Obviously, once we take Goddard here, we're really hoping that we just continue to get tight ends going off. Don't know if I love the Dallas Goedert value. I mean, just going back to what we were talking about previously, I mean, I do think that it's a unique combo of Pitts and Goddard in the 7th and 8th round that I don't know how many teams are going to have. And, I mean, I'm fine with the Goddard value. I definitely would have taken Jameson Williams if he would have fallen. That way we could have gone through and paired up Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and make that one concentrated bet on the offense in Detroit, but it is what it is. Okay, so Deontay Johnson, 97, Rachaad White, 98. So what we are hoping for at this point is we are hoping that we get George Pickens falling. It's a sad hope, but whenever we have Kenny Pickett, I mean, I think that it makes sense that we need to go through and get George Pickens. The one reason I was hesitant to draft Dallas Goedert is because drafting Dallas Goedert makes it where we are going to have a much more difficult time stacking Pickett in that we can't take Pat Freiermuth anymore when we have both Pitts as well as Goddard. But we'll see. Maybe it works out. Maybe we get George Pickens on the way back around. Traylon Burks goes 101. So it looks like Desmond Ridder is falling here. Can y'all please let me know in the live chat right now, what is your assessment on Desmond Ridder? I don't know if this is a player that I really have taken at all. I mean, he does have some phenomenal weapons. He's rolling with Drake London, rolling with Kyle Pitts, has some rushing upside. So it's going to be one of two picks here. We're either taking Desmond Ridder to stack with Kyle Pitts or we're taking George Pickens to stack with Kenny Pickett. I don't know if we've drafted Desmond Ridder in a single one of these, but we may end up having to at this point. We'll see. We'll see. Zach Charbonnet goes 104. So we are going to go ahead. We will take Desmond Ridder here as our quarterback 4. Don't really know what to expect, but accomplishes a couple things. 1, we get him 20 picks behind his ADP. Don't know how many people are going to have him at this cost. 2, we stack him up with Kyle Pitts. So let me know what y'all think. Please, someone in the live chat, let me know their assessment on Desmond Ridder, especially if we have someone that's been following this situation closer than I have. Now that we take our 4th quarterback, we cannot be drafting another QB. We are sitting with Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder. At quarterback, running back, we have Nick Chubb. Wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert. So a very unique team. I'll say that at the minimum. I don't know how many people are going to have a team like this. We can't take another tight end here either. So we're going to be either George Pickens, Javonte Williams, or Jahan Dotson. George Pickens would accomplish the stack where we're going to be able to pair him up with Kenny Pickett. Javonte Williams would be, in my mind, one of the best players on the board. And Jahan Dotson would be, in my mind, one of the other best players on the board. So we're pretty much... Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take George Pickens here. Very similar to the Desmond Ridder selection. We're accomplishing a couple different things. One, we're getting a player about 20 picks past his ADP, so it is going to help contribute to finding a unique build in general. Not only are we going to be able to find a unique build in general with George Pickens at 112, and a lot of people are taking him at the 8-9 turn, but also we are going to be able to stack up with Kenny Pickett. So overall, I mean, if we can find some running back value here, I actually really like this team. I think that this is a team that not many people are going to have something that looks similar. And while we did get unique, we didn't have to get stupid about it, right? I feel like this is a unique, not stupid team, which in my mind in these tournaments, that's kind of what I'm going for with the build. So we have Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, George Pickens. Running back, we have Nick Chubb. Tight end, we have Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert. So I really like this team, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think this has been a clinic here. And you know, I'm the first person to say, okay, I'm an idiot. Yeah, this was a horrible draft and never do anything like this. But I mean, we've gotten really lucky, at least over the past 2 rounds, with those values that we ended up getting. Now, Peanut Butter Waivers says, Ridder is a mid quarterback 2 for me. He is going to be a hard carried by his cast. I mean, the thing is, if Desmond Ridder starts 17 games, I am extremely confident that this is a good pick. The thing is, I don't know if that's going to happen. We have James out here in the chat, says, I like the double tight end. Happy to see you, James. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Chi-Town Bears Time says, Mason, can you do a fan-led draft at pick 1, 2, or 5? So we'll definitely get some more drafts that are live stream only members on Underdog going. In my mind, I really don't like doing non-Underdog drafts on the live stream because the primary issue that you have with non-Underdog drafts is if it's just some random mock, people leave halfway through. People are then auto drafting the rest of their teams. It means literally nothing. What I love about these Underdog drafts is, one, I really like Underdog in general. There's a reason I drafted over 700 teams last year and drafting them all the time off the live stream. 2, we won $150,000 on Underdog last year, which is really nice whenever we can have that kind of upside. And 3, because everybody paid $10 to get in this draft, you know for a damn fact that everybody means their picks here. There's no troll coming to mess up the board. There's nobody that's going to be auto drafting throughout the entire thing. So yeah, I mean, but the issue with that is I can't go through and say, okay, we're going to do our next draft and then I'm going to be picking just from one, if that makes sense. On Underdog, it's always going to be random selections. You never know what pick you're going to be getting. So we'll definitely do a lot of drafts that are live stream only ones, but I'm not going to be able to say, okay, yeah, let's get you a draft from pick 1. I mean, we'll do like over 700 drafts this year, my friends. So you'll definitely get to see a million of them. Okay, I don't want to queue up just yet exactly how we are looking at this board. There are going to be 2 primary players, or I'd say 3 guys that we would want to make it back around to us here. We cannot take quarterback. We cannot take tight end. We are exclusively going to be looking at running back and wide receiver. Okay, A.J. Dillon goes 126. Dillon was one of the running backs. In my mind, if I'm looking at A.J. Dillon, Khalil Herbert, Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, Alexander Madison, I don't care. Khalil Herbert, Damian Harris have higher ADPs. A.J. Dillon's the best running back in that group in my mind. Like, I would rather have A.J. Dillon over any of those players there, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, put it in work on the clock. 5 RBs. Are they on auto? No, they're not on auto. They're not on auto. They do take Damian Harris there as a 6th running back. A very unique team. Very interesting team. Okay. A.M. Carter. Only has A. Rich and Sam Howell at quarterback. Don't know what they're going to do at quarterback through the rest of this. Jacoby Brissett. Okay, so there are 3 players that I'm fine with. I'm going to go Khalil Herbert here. We need a running back. There are 4 players I'm actually fine with, but one of the reasons, the primary reason we go with Khalil Herbert 129 is out of those 4 players, He is the only guy that I'm pretty much guaranteed not to be able to get on the way back around at 136, or at least close to not guaranteed to be able to get him. So we'll take Khalil Herbert there, and we'll see if one of our other guys makes it. Okay, so we have two guys that I want. Is there a QB or tight end can go off the board soon? Hopefully one of these teams takes like Dawson Knox or Dalton Schultz. Elijah Mitchell. Okay, so we are going to get one of these two guys. We're going to be looking at Alexander Mattison and Quentin Johnson. The players that were in that 4 that I was fine with were Khalil Herbert, Brian Robinson, Alexander Mattison, and Quentin Johnson. Those were going to be the guys. With Odell, I mean, I understand what someone would say. Okay, Mason, Lamar Jackson's probably going to be going back to Baltimore. Don't we want to go through and stack Lamar just like how you stacked Matthew Stafford with Cooper Kupp, Kenny Pickett with George Pickens, Desmond Ridder with Kyle Pitts? In theory, yeah, I understand why you'd say that. In reality, I'm not convinced Lamar Jackson going back to Baltimore. I'm not drafting Lamar Jackson for a lot of passing volume. I'm drafting him for the rushing upside. So I would rather just take the best player available. I perceive the best player available to be Alexander Mattison. I think the premium handcuff running back appeal that you get at 136 is value enough alone. Then you add in the uncertainty that you may have with Dalvin Cook in the long term here. And I really like the value that you're going to get with Mattison. In a vacuum, he's one of my favorite players in these drafts. Okay. I am really sorry to hear that, James. I'm praying for you, my man. I really hope that things turn around. I'm super sorry, man. Of course, if you ever need to, please feel free to reach out to me. Especially, like, I'd say easiest way is definitely on Discord if you want to reach out to me, my man. But Peanut Butter and Waiver says, I'm a Justin Fields fan. Like the biggest one you'll meet. My team is the Atlanta Falcons. Rise up. Hotlanta. Okay. Interesting. That's one thing that I've noticed with Justin Fields as we go through and talk down on Fields and get the entire world against us is it's not just Bears fans that are obsessed with Justin Fields. The man has a cult following. I don't know why. I don't know why it is. And maybe it's the Netflix documentary. Maybe it's because he had all the pedigree in the world. Ohio State fans are literally everywhere. Everybody loves Ohio State. I don't know, but he just has some massive cult following. Can y'all explain to me in the chat why I would say, like, if we had to rank NFL players that have followings that people root for, that are not in their own fan base, Justin Fields has to be top 3. I don't even know who would be alongside him. Who else are people obsessed about that they aren't fans of the team? Peanut Butter Waiver says, Fields was from Georgia, played at Georgia, should still be in Georgia. Okay, that makes sense. Leave the Race says Patrick Mahomes, but I'm not including guys like Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Like, obviously, those guys should have cult followings, right? I'm saying cult followings for a player that, I'm not saying Justin Fields is bad, but his team just did earn the #1 overall pick overall. A player that isn't Patrick Mahomes level that people are obsessed about and will be so mad at you if you have a statement that they could be bad. Rin says Odell. That's a good call. I will not lie. I am an Odell stan. And I think with Odell, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you go back to 2014, I mean, the catch that he had in that primetime game against the Cowboys, like, changed football forever. Like, I mean, if you're looking at like what it did for the culture, Odell is definitely one of those players at this point of his career. I mean, at the peak, Odell was like a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. So, I mean, it makes a little more sense. But I'd say at this point, obviously, Odell's far from that. We just took Alexander Mattison over him. But yeah, I think that's a good call out with Odell Beckham Jr. at 139. And I would have classified myself as that Odell stan a while ago. Mike says everyone loves George Kittle. I mean, I kind of love George Kittle as well. But I don't really see like there being like a lot of people going to the streets and screaming like George Kittle's way better than you think he is, right? Like, that's not really something that people argue about. That's not really like a hill that people are willing to die on, that George Kittle is so underrated. Okay, let's go ahead and let's pull up running backs, wide receivers. What are we going to be looking at here? So running back, we have Nick Chubb, Khalil Herbert, Alexander Mattison. Wide receiver, we have Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, George Pickens. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Tyler Boyd. Guess we'll just continue to stack up guys in that division. Pickett, Lamar, Chubb, Boyd. Maybe that does something down the road. Chi-Town says DJ Moore. That is another good call out. I think DJ Moore, particularly from the fantasy football community, definitely has his cult following. And I'll admit, I was probably a little bit too much of a DJ Moore stan in years past. Nick says Jamal Williams. I see what you mean. I mean, Mark coming out says smash that like button. Yes, if y'all have not done so already, listen to Mark. Go down there. Smash that like button. We have almost 200 people out here in the live chat. We'll keep it simple. If we get 150 likes on this live stream before the end of the stream, so we already have way more than that. So if you all go down there and drop a like on the stream now, we'll get in another draft. But we will also have another like 20 minutes to do so. If we get 150 likes on the stream, we'll fire up another one after this. Okay, so Adam Thielen going off the board. What do we want to do? Best ball format, I'm going to go ahead. I am going to take Jalen Hyatt. I don't necessarily expect Hyatt to be a super good real life, a super good fantasy receiver in regular leagues. Like if you're playing in a dynasty format and you have to figure out when you're going to start Hyatt from a week-to-week standpoint, I really have no idea. I mean, with Jalen Hyatt, he is going to be that field stretching option, that guy that's going to be keeping safeties honest, creating space underneath for the other wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, and his offense to operate in. And that will provide a decent amount of real life NFL value, which will get him on the field early on. It's why it's going to go in round 1 or round 2 of the NFL draft. From a real like dynasty perspective, if you were having to submit your starting lineup each and every week and this wasn't best ball, I don't know how excited we would be about Jalen Hyatt here. But in this kind of format in particular, I'm fine with Jalen Hyatt at 160. Rob says Hyatt is Gabe Davis. I say, yeah, if Jalen Hyatt's Gabe Davis at pick 160, I'm super happy about that. Let's look at this. Okay, someone's saying that you have the Jets guys in both Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson with pretty big fan bases. I would agree with that. I think they kind of fit the mold, but I would also make the argument that and maybe I'm just falling a victim for it as well and just being fans of these guys. But I'd also make the argument that they themselves are significantly better than like Justin Fields, if that makes sense, at what they do. You know, if I'm ranking Breece Hall at the running back position, I think Breece Hall is arguably like a top 5 running back in the NFL. And I'd argue that Garrett Wilson's arguably like a top 10, 12 wide receiver in the NFL. James says Breece is probably my favorite non-Bengals player. Yeah, definitely. Now Zeke goes 166. Tajay Spears 167. I really don't know what we want to do here. What I find myself doing a lot in this range is honestly just going over to the tight end position. But like we already said, whenever we take both Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert, really not looking to add in any tight end production at this point. We're looking to just kind of build out running back and wide receiver from here, especially the running back position in this kind of format. So it's hard for us to look at tight ends, even if in general, those are kind of my favorite players in this range. Jake Ferguson goes 169. I mean, all these tight ends also are just kind of like your personal preference. I'm never going to go through and say, oh, that was a bad pick. I mean, instead of going with Jake Ferguson, you should have gone Gerald Everett. You should have gone Michael Mayer. You should have gone Mike Gesicki. You should have gone Dalton Kincaid. You should have gone Trey McBride. What an idiot. In reality, I think it just this range of tight ends, a lot of them are just who the hell knows. It's kind of the tight end position overall. You're paying a super cheap price to pretty much get anybody here. So then you just go out there and get your guy, just your personal preference. Okay, Jalen Warren goes 173. Kareem Hunt 171. Okay, there are four players that I'm looking at. Okay, so yeah, we're going to get one of them. I don't want to queue them up here and let everybody know exactly who it is, just in case we can get another one on the way back around in the 16th, which is definitely a possibility here. But yeah, we would really like to get 2 of 4 players, or I'd maybe throw fifth one in there. Singletary off the board at 174. That was one of the guys that we were going to be looking at. Alec Pierce, 175. That was one of the guys that we were looking at as well. So now we are down to 2 names that we could possibly grab. Dear God. A.M. Carter, 4 QBs, A. Rich, Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, 4 running backs, JT, Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet, Izzy. Wide receivers, they go Hayden Hurst. Okay, so we are going to get Devin Achane. He was one of those other guys. Similar to Hyatt, I don't necessarily think that he's going to be a player that you're ever super pumped to go through and like actually start in a fantasy football league. The man's just way too small to ever project from a weekly standpoint to come away with like 15, 20 touches. It's not happening. But you could see Devin Achane, given his speed and given his receiving down skill set, possibly going round 2, round 3 of the NFL draft and getting on the field and being an impact player year 1 for an NFL offense and possibly giving us 1 to 3 spike weeks given his big play upside. So in best ball, I'm going to be fine with him. Obviously, in a regular format, it's going to be a little more difficult. Okay, so Gallup goes 182. There's still one guy that I'd like here. Let's see if we get him. Let's see. LP on the clock. Gino, they go MVS. Okay, so we are going to get Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, I know this is a Giants team that's definitely gone through and invested into the depth of their wide receiver room, but still, when the number 1 guy on your quote-unquote depth chart / who you're paying is Paris Campbell, the wide receiver room is still wide open. The man was a great prospect. The man had some strong flashes his rookie season. Serious injury to get over, which is why he's going in the 16th round here, not the 12th. But I really like it in this range. Now, Nick coming out here, always happy to see you, my friend, says, do you believe this deep rookie tight end class will break the mold of lesser production in the first season? So I have been quick to say in years past, oh, this tight end class is so good that these guys are going to produce year 1. Like, we weren't making YouTube videos back then, but I mean, I was obsessed with Dynasty Fantasy Football starting in like 2014. And I mean obsessed. So I've been in love with pretty much every rookie class ever. And in 2017, I mean, I was fully convinced. Yes, rookie tight ends aren't productive, but look at this class. We have OJ Howard. We have Evan Ingram. We have David Njoku. How does it not work out? Let me go through and let me take David Njoku in the middle of the first round. And yes, this is the 2017 draft class that had Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. I mean, I'm probably still missing a few names. Jamal Williams, and probably still missing a few names off the top of my head. But because the tight end class was so good on paper, where I'll stand by, I think OJ Howard, I think David Njoku as tight end prospects are much better than any tight end prospect in this class. We went through and we thought it was a good idea drafting rookie tight ends, which saw that panned out. So, yeah, this is also why, like, back in 2021, I was the idiot drafting, I mean, pretty much everybody over Kyle Pitts. We were drafting Trey Lance over Kyle Pitts. We were drafting Travis Etienne over Kyle Pitts, which I eat so much crap about last offseason. I think this offseason it looks a little bit better. And we were also drafting the other guys, Jamar Chase, Najee Harris. That doesn't really matter, but yeah. That's why, even though we were willing to admit, like, whenever Kyle Pitts came out, that he was the best rookie tight end prospect of all time. Now, like, you know what? Still probably shouldn't draft this guy his rookie season. Should probably still take the elite level prospects at the other positions first, and then trade for Kyle Pitts a few years down the road whenever he's presumably at a cheaper price tag, which say Kyle Pitts is probably the same price tag now than he was his rookie season. Rob's highlight says 2017 was one of the best drafts ever. Definitely from a fantasy football perspective, because if you throw in like the quarterbacks that you got from that class as well, like getting Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, like from a fantasy football perspective, it's hard to get better than what you had in 2017. I'll say my favorite draft class ever was probably 2014, but that was my first year being obsessed with Dynasty Fantasy Football. And that was the year you had Sammy Watkins, Odell, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks. You had no running backs whatsoever. But I mean, my favorite I'd say, positional draft class of all time, with how much fun I had looking into the players and how much fun I had in a single offseason, would probably be the 2014 wide receiver class. You had Allen Robinson in that class as well. Okay, so Zach Evans goes 196. Okay, so we're exclusively running back, wide receiver. If you're looking at the running back room, I mean, it is drying up quickly. We are only sitting with Nick Chubb, Khalil Herbert, Alexander Madison, Devin Achane. And right now, we don't have much to look at. I mean, it is slim pickings here. You have James Robinson, Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chase Brown, Dwayne McBride, Dearness Johnston. Yeah, so you don't have much at running back at all. Isaiah Hodgins off the board, 198. So let's think from a roster construction standpoint. So we're going to go 4 QBs, 2 tight ends. We have 4 picks left. I think what we may do here is build 4-7-7-2. I doubt anybody else is building like that. I think that's obviously a very unique case to this team in particular. I don't know if we love it, but we'll see. Tyler Conklin goes. Try to think. I think Curtis Samuel's a strong pick here, but in terms of just how this room looks overall, I feel like we kind of have to go through and take 2 running backs here at the 17-18 turn, just because a lot of the wide receivers that we could get at the 19-20 turn are going to be very comparable to each other. And real quick, we are 50 likes away from hitting 150 likes in this live stream and firing up another one after this. So if you have not done so already, drop a like on the stream. It looks like we are not close to hitting it, though. Tyquan Thornton goes 2-2. I actually really like Tyquan Thornton as a pick this year. But like we said, I think we just kind of have to take a running back, even if it's gross. Isaiah Likely goes good. Get these tight ends off. Noah Fant. Noah Fant is one of my favorite tight end picks if you're looking at the super late rounds. Malik Willis, 206. Ben asking, did you guys see Quentin Johnston did not receive an invite to the draft? I don't want to get ahead of myself here, so we're not going to say too much, but I will say I have been following closely who will be at round 1 of the NFL draft. So yes, I know the 17 players that'll be there. I've been trying to stay on top of that. But do we just take a rookie and go, okay, well, what if? I think that's the move here. We'll go Chase Brown. We'll just toss a what if it works out here. Pick 208. I mean, we just kind of need some running back bodies. Most likely these guys aren't going to be anything, but most likely McCole Hardman, Khalil Shakir, Richie James, Chase Claypool, most likely those guys won't be anything either. Okay. So looks like we're not close to hitting 150 likes in the live stream. I was going to stick around to the very end, but yeah, there's no way we're going to do it. But let me show off the entire board. I think we're going to hide who we're taking in the final 2 rounds here. Overall, I really liked this draft. I think maybe it got away from us just a little bit in terms of the running back position. I think if we were to go back and change anything, like where could we change something? I don't know. I would have liked to get lucky and had Devin Singletary falling to us with these 2 picks as well. But yeah, we'll just definitely need a breakout running back. Like we'll need Khalil Herbert or Alexander Madison to actually do something this next season. But yeah, thank you again for everything, of course. And if y'all want to get my next draft, we're going to do a million of these. We did over 700 last year. Probably the most fun thing you can do. Underdog Fantasy available in like 40 plus states, pretty much available everywhere. Find the link in the comment section, find it in the description. Sign up, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, so it's pretty much free to check out. Thank you again, everyone. Really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day, and really hope that we get to see you with the live stream next time, which will probably be Monday-ish.